we are in the rapid fire round, and our guest for today is Buchi Reddy. He is the founder and CEO of Levo.ai. Welcome, Buchi.
Yeah, thank you, Neelu. I'm super glad to be here.
Okay, so you're in the rapid fire, and we'll have a bunch of questions thrown at you back to back. So be ready for it. The first one that I have for you, Buchi, is I was just checking out your profile, and it turned out that you're an investor as well. So not just a founder, but investor in some of the companies. How did you get started on the investing journey yourself? Because I'm asking because many of us here in India, there are many startups that are coming up in, particularly in security. So I wanted to know, what do you generally see in a company? What do you like to see in a company before you invest?
Oh, sorry to disappoint you, but I don't consider myself as an investor yet. I did invest in a few companies that was more of supporting some friends and supporting people who were doing something similar to what I was already doing. But having said that, I still have an answer, or at least now that I've been running my own company for 3+ years, and I've seen several founders, several other companies and stories. I think I have a pretty good understanding. If I have to invest now, basically going forward, if I have money and if I have, want to actually start investing, definitely start looking at the team. Team is the very first thing. I mean, it's not a
People,
surprise,
yeah.
and you might have heard it everywhere. But my experience first hand tells, like, because team is everything, especially in the early stages of the company, and how determined they are, how motivated, what kind of grit they have. You know, are they willing to hustle? Like, I think this is something that they may not, that you may not have heard, or like a lot of people don't call
Hmm.
it out this way. But I would be very open and honest. It takes a lot of hustle, however smart you are, and however whatever kind of resources you have, it's a lot of hustle. So I would gauge these things from the team, and then look at like what they are doing and how big the market is and some of those things. But yeah, I'm not an investor or not
All the
officially.
humble investors say that. So good. All right. So, see, I was also checking out your background, and the other thing that I was curious about is you have moved from also from the engineering side. You have seen different areas, and you have moved to security now. So, apart from API security itself, which of course you want to see improve, what else would you like to see improve in the security industry? Because it is a certain kind, right? We have a bunch of products, we have so many things that we do differently, so what would you like to see improve?
Yeah, I think fundamentally this proactive versus reactive is a fundamental thing, and you can apply it at different layers of the security, whether it is applications, APIs, or cloud, or whatever. I think a lot of it is not done yet. There is some products. What do you mean by proactive versus reactive? Is essentially think from the first principles, and whatever the companies and enterprises are building, whatever they are using, think about the security from day one and automate all of it rather than thinking it as a post facto. I know it's easier said than done, and in some cases it might seem like an unnecessary thing, but in the long term, this actually will be a big winner, and it goes much longer than, like, us trying to react. So that's at a philosophical level, that's what I would recommend. But and to get more concrete, I think there is a lot that needs to be done in the application security, especially, a lot of times people think that I think we came from a world where I have a firewall. Do I even need to worry about application security? And now we are at a level where I have an API gateway. Do I need to think about API security? It's like, unfortunately, yes, you have to, because this layer 7 constructs the application and API. A lot of people don't think this way, but they are actually big attack surface attack vectors. And some of the attacks through this, they may not even look like attacks because they look like benign API calls, benign app requests. There's a lot to be done, and I might be biased because I come from engineering background, and I am
Not
definitely
at all.
seeing a lot of gaps in that area. So I would like to see a lot more products coming up in that area.
Yeah, I think it's a very good call out. We are generally called as a non-functional requirement, pun intended, coming up much later in the life cycle. But then that is the entire movement that's happening where we are trying to start much earlier. So
Yeah.
great call out. Uh, so, okay, a little bit of a personal thing. I was looking at you've been, of course, you've gone from India, and you are currently in the Bay Area as well. You have seen places around in India and Bay Area. So, which are your favorite places in both India and the Bay Area?
Oh, in India, I haven't done a lot of traveling. It might sound silly, but at least back then when I was there, I love being going to my native place, like my village. Like mainly more than a place, it's a place where I have all the memories, right? Because I grew up in my village completely, and my entire family, my grandma, my dad, both of them have passed away recently. So I have a lot of memories there, and maybe that's the reason. So I'm kind of attached to it, but here in the US, I love driving around the Pacific coast, the famous CA1, just driving around there. Like I could do it like all through the day. Like, just go grab a coffee, keep, sit at the, look at the beach, and that's my favorite. And we try to do it very often here. And actually, even yesterday we went there.
Oh, great, great. Okay, now I'll come to something that many people may not know about you, and that is that you had an All India first rank in GATE, and that was in fact much a little earlier than the time that people do it. So I think it was in the third year. So and you didn't go for the masters after that. So this was quite unexpected. I just wanted to know what was going on. Are you unpredictable generally, or like you just want to do it for the sake of it? What was it?
No, 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 nothing like that. I think basically originally when I started I saw it. I did it more because I just wanted to get better at the concepts that I was learning. Like, and one of the best ways was actually to attempt this, because this kind of this is the competitive exam, and people all over India are writing, and this actually forces you to be the best version of yourself and understand everything in depth, because you cannot crack it unless you are like one of the best. So that's how I have written it, and that's the reason I have written it in third year as well. Like I didn't expect that I will be the All India first ranker. I just did the best. And when I wrote the exam, several subjects that are part of the exam, some of them at least were not even covered in the academics, right? Because they come in fourth year, but I was only in the third or pre-final year. So it was totally the unexpected part is me getting that rank. Not
Not joy.
I'm not unpredictable off, but I think I wanted to go for a job because of some of my financial reasons, and in general I wanted to get some industry experience, and I got a great job, like the dream job in India. Actually, they were the highest paid, and I also totally loved the work in that company. And I looked around, I didn't feel like I need to go back to masters, so that's why I didn't do it. So
Oh,
yeah,
amazing.
that's the story. So it was not about the predictability or anything. Like, just okay, I wrote the exam because I wanted to really get better at concepts and all this. And then after that, many people said, "Hey, you could easily get into any institute across the country, IISc famously and all this." But I didn't see the need. Once I joined Shaw as my first job and I started working on it, I felt like I was totally in love with the work that I was doing, and I didn't see the need. So that's why I didn't do.
Oh, I think it's beautiful. I think it's that is how you're studying for the love of studying rather than just or giving exams for the love of it or just up to understand things better rather than just to be somewhere as a result of that. So
I would
that's
recommend
great.
anybody any day. I'm telling you, there is
Exactly.
no better way than forcing you to really like some forcing factor that forces you to understand first principles and understand it to your level. Even better, explain it to somebody else. Like actually, there are other things I have not told anywhere, but I actually used to teach my my classmates, but more than my classmates, I even used to do official, like, I used to take money and teach other students who are in the same batch as me. Like I'm in
Oh,
third year, I
wow.
used to teach engineering third year students. It's like in again because once you explain something to somebody else, like the level, like it forces first in order for you to explain, you need to understand it really, really well. And that
Yes,
forcing
yes.
factor is what I really loved about it. So I used to do these things because I wanted to understand better.
I think this is the stuff of movies. I think this is interesting. Nice. Okay, and I think my last question to you is this. So I think I was talking to you earlier as well, and the way you have grown up, the background that you have, and as a person, you were also mentioning that you have studied from Telugu medium. Any native language that we have here, right, is quite different from English, and You would have moved at some point to English as well. So that was a transition, and you were also introvert earlier. That's what you were telling me. So looking back at that and looking at today where you are, I think it's a huge transition. It's like the entire 180-degree spectrum where you move from an introvert to being a CEO. How is this transition? That like how is it for you as of today, moving from complete introvert to a CEO, a founder, where you have to keep selling at every step, talk to everyone, be out there, like almost like an extrovert. How does it work?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult, and sometimes, I mean, actually, like the way I see, I was in my village studying in a government school, and then I came to Hyderabad. That was a huge. Hyderabad is a metro city, right? That was a huge transition, and I deliberately changed my medium from Telugu medium to English medium. I could have continued my studies, but I knew that at some point I need to be really comfortable with this, and the sooner I face it, the sooner I get over it, the better it is for me. It was very tough, but I had gone through it. I had forced myself to go through that. I would say even almost like a torture. Many people were around me. Some friends helped me and all this in the transition. Definitely made a bit easier, but you know, yeah, similarly going from first I'm moving to US. The cultures were different here,
Yeah.
and even entering into the corporate culture, I still remember like nobody from my family were in any of the corporate jobs or anything. Like that was completely alien concept to me. Like I still remember like calling people as sir in the beginning when I joined as my job on the first day, and people were like, "Are you crazy? Like we don't call people sir here because that's how the movies show, right?" So this entire transition, and from there now this is the next level, introvert to extrovert, and being customer facing and selling and all of these things. This is even next level. I think what helped me throughout is basically recognizing that change and acknowledging that we are going through a change, and you might sound like a beginner, you might sound like a newbie in this, and be okay with it and be vulnerable and don't hesitate in actually attempting things, because learning is the only thing that how we grow as people. So I think fundamentally I had that belief, and I don't hesitate in actually going through those journeys. Like, so tomorrow if I have to learn something new, like even selling has been completely new to me in last 1.5 years. I've been today I may not be the masters of it, but I definitely have come a long way. And what helped me is basically first acknowledging that okay, I'm going to suck at sales initially, and it's like I'm going to fail. That's fine, but the transition has to happen, and you have to be conscious about it. So me just putting, I think I've read this quote somewhere. Somebody said, just turning up every day is actually half of the game. And just
I've heard
make sure
it
you
too.
turn up during these transitions, also make sure you turn up every day. It gets easier from there.
Yeah, showing up is actually most of the work. Only in rare cases you will go much deeper and do something else, depending on what role you're playing, whether in corporate or otherwise. But I asked this particularly, but thanks for sharing this because many of our audience, whether they're in security or particularly I'm from an offsec background, we tend to either become introvert or we are introvert. So it makes a lot of sense. I see a lot of correlation between your journey and many of the audience as well. So thanks for sharing that with us.
I would like to add one thing. I think there are some myths. People tend to think, oh, it's like, I don't know why, but because I'm an engineer, they tend to think that I'm an introvert. Actually, or
No,
I mean,
engineers are
I
not.
know they, not just me, them in general. Any engineer think that oh, most of the engineers are introvert, not necessarily. And it's like for a long time, I used to think that I'm gonna stay as an individual contributor because managing people and leadership probably is not my cup of tea. And the very first time I attempted it, I even told my manager explicitly that, look, I don't know if it is gonna be for me or not. So give me 2 3 months, I'll try, and if it does not work out, I'm gonna tell you. But I never looked back. I didn't want to look back. Like okay, very quickly I was able to adapt to it. So don't make assumptions about yourself. Also, people think they know themselves. Oftentimes that's not true. You can do a lot of things that you think you may not be able to do, or
Yeah.
think are difficult for you. Don't hold yourself based on some assumptions or past data. You want to achieve something, you want to change yourself to do something new, just go and just show up every day and attempt it. Just stand there for some time.
It will ease out. Yes, yes. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Buchi, for sharing all these answers, especially the personal ones with us. And I'm sure the audience will get to know you much better with this. So thanks for joining for the rapid fire.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Neelu. Really enjoyed it, and hope some of my learnings will be at least helpful to some of your audience.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks everyone for joining us today in this rapid fire. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you like this rapid fire, please go through the entire episode. That's almost much more fun than you had in the rapid fire. So I'll link that in the description below as well. Thanks. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.